Hello everyone. I'm so excited to be here today with a new broadcast on Finding Balance as a Jewish Entrepreneur series. If you're new here and you don't know me, I am Dalia Brunschwig, a certified nutrition health coach and founder of Fully in Balance. I help Jewish women identify their unique blind spots that prevents them from feeling great and losing weight by tuning into their body signals. With my programs and services, women can finally achieve balance with their food and lead a healthy lifestyle without restrictions. But here we are to speak with somebody very special. So let me introduce my special guest today. I have the pleasure to interview Nathalie Garson, the founder of the Global Network for Jewish Women Entrepreneurs and Leaders, and she's also the CEO of Born to Do Business. So, hello, Nathalie.
Hi, Dalia. Hello.
I met Nathalie, I met you about 6 months ago during one of your virtual global network meetups. I don't know if you remember that first one, but for me, it was really an incredible experience because I could really feel the energy, the different connections and support that I gained on with only one meeting. And I got so many good benefits for my business as a nutrition health coach with the networking that I met there. So, Nathalie, welcome to my series. And let's start by introducing yourself and telling us more about how the Jewish Entrepreneur and Leadership Global Network started.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dalia. Thank you for, inviting me, having me on your podcast, and for this introduction. I'm very happy that we're doing this together. Yes, we started, yes, to be in contact 6 months ago. And the global network, though, started 3 years ago. It started during COVID when everyone wanted to connect online, needed to not be alone at home, and wanted to have more connections. And the global network started really naturally and organically with Jewish women entrepreneurs who wanted to connect, collaborate, create strategic partnerships. And the specificity of this network is that it is still for Jewish women only. Whether they are in Israel or around the world, as long as they have a business, they speak English, or even they're a leader of a nonprofit. And it started organically. This is a unique initiative because there are networks in Israel, of course, of Anglos, and there are networks of Jewish women around the world, in the US, in Europe. But this is the first one that is global and that creates bridges between Israel and the rest of the world. And so this was the vision of this still is the vision of the network. And I'm so excited that today we have 1,700 women coming from more than 20 countries. Yeah, so
Wow.
it's
So,
exciting.
so I did feel that energy when I joined that first meeting. I remember there was like, I think it was about over 40 ladies and from all around the world. And it was great how to meet other Jewish women there to support each other. It was like, of course, you get the chance to present your business and everything, but it's really about making those connections and getting that support with other women that are on the same boat as you, maybe in a different level, but definitely a great opportunity, a great space to be as a Jewish woman running a business. So tell us a little bit more who is behind this idea, because you are the CEO of Born to Do Business, which is your job, like your role. But then you had this amazing idea that came up with the global networking. So who is behind it? Is it you yourself? Do you have a team? Or who is there?
Great question, because this was part of my journey, but I can only say that it was part of my journey when I look back. But when it actually happened very naturally, and I had to look back and say, "Oh, okay, this is happening. That's weird." But then it was, "Oh yeah, of course, it's very aligned." So I think it's very interesting to see when your journey is like you have to catch up, with the journey. Like the path is already open, and everyone sees it, and you're the one saying, "Oh, okay, this is what's happening." So yes, you're right. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 12 years. I have the Born to Do Business, which is a program for entrepreneurs who are scaling their business. I was niching already towards Jewish women entrepreneurs in my business because those were the women that wanted to help. And like I said, in COVID, I just did a very natural thing, which was, okay, I'm serving Jewish women entrepreneurs from all around the world. Let's, organize networking meetups. And we started by organizing monthly meetups for 2 years. And I thought that this was, the way for me to gather women that wanted to connect. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to monetize it, if I wanted to keep it free, because we have to say that this network is, until today, completely free. You can come to the meetups, you can do everything, be in the community for free. And everyone was like, well, you should monetize this. You should ask for, money from people. It's like, no, I don't know. This doesn't feel right. This is not a monetization thing. And, I'm a business coach, so I know how to monetize things. It's not, a strategy issue. But I felt there was something else. There was another dimension, another level. And then a year ago, I decided to take the leap and to actually open a nonprofit. And the reason is because I felt it was much more beyond the business and beyond the networking of entrepreneurs, but more talking about belonging to the Jewish people, connecting to our Jewish identity, becoming Jewish leaders, which is always what I've loved and be connected to anyway. And all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, people say all of a sudden, but really there's, tons of work behind it and months of exactly. So it's not all of a sudden, but it became clear to me that this was a nonprofit initiative, that it was bigger than me, bigger than my, I'm going to say little business. And that's where I invited people to join me in a board of advisors. We have head of committees, we have ambassadors, and we have a big team of people, which, by the way, are all volunteers, as myself. We're all volunteering and just connected to the vision and to the project. And I said, yes, I'm in. We have chapter leaders, with the chapters around the world. And this just, had a life, still has a life of its own. And I'm so humbled that it's happening, because it was my vision, but I didn't think it was going to happen so fast. And sometimes, the journey, like I said, has tricks that you don't know yet. And just, things happen faster than you think. And, unfortunately, October 7th and the war made that happen even faster, because we all know that we need Jewish leadership, and we see how everyone in the Jewish people is connecting to their Jewish identity much more than before. If we needed, if we needed a reminder, this was a big reminder.
Right, because I think we all connected somehow as Jewish women and Jewish mothers. We have these Jewish values, and I was very grateful to be part of your summit back before the Chagim, before Tishrei, before October 7th, and that was huge. So imagine now, now we need more this connection. Now we need more this support, and to be under this umbrella that we are one. I mean, we always felt it. I don't have a doubt about that, but it's definitely important to know that there is a place that you can go and you can discuss things openly without feeling, like you said, there's many networking places. There's but for Jewish women, especially leading our Jewish duties, and you need to have a certain backup and a certain feel welcome somewhere. So I think it's great that you have this. And also, why did I ask you who is behind this? Because I wanted to also point out that this is serious. It's not just something that you just had a dream, oh, let's do a global networking. There is a team behind, and I think it says something, it shows something, that there is a backup. So I know tonight there is a global monthly meetup, like I joined a few months ago. So anybody that's watching this and wants to join, I highly recommend that you come and try it, because it's definitely worth it. And if you're watching this later, join for the next one, which I think it's happening. Tell me more, Nathalie. It's once a month? Right?
Yes, it's happening every first Wednesday of the month, so it's easy to remember, unless we have a holiday or something. But it's it's been happening, for the last 3 years, every first Wednesday of the month at 8 p.m. Israel time, which you'll have to translate in your own time zone.
Yeah, it gets confusing, especially when you're working with with other Jewish women, and you have groups and everything. Sometimes like England, Israel, you need to work it
I
out.
know,
So
I know. It's you really have to say, like, to make sure. I mean, I know it's 1 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. I know it's 7 p.m. In Europe, but more than that, you would have to check. So
yeah.
I think the only time zone we're not reaching is Australia, which we don't have that capacity yet. But yeah, so like you said, we have between 30 and sometimes even 50 women who actually come, because we have double than that register. You should just know that whoever is here means that there is double, that register. But there's always things that happen, of course. Life happens. And then, just like you said, every woman gets an opportunity to present themselves. We have a 1-minute presentation, so you can present your business and what you do. We added, since the war, because it really touched everyone, not only people in Israel, but really around the world. We added an opportunity. You don't have to, but an opportunity to share how has the war impacted you, or how is it impacting you, whether it's in your business or personally or emotionally. And I have to say that women have felt very grateful to have this place. Of course, we're not a support group, and we're not helping people to go through their emotional trauma. Even though in the beginning of the war, we did bring on experts who were helping with healing and doing all kinds of emotional to help people. We actually at the time did one meetup a week, because we really felt that women in our network needed that. And I will add that a lot of women have said that they have been part of other networking groups and they had to leave their groups because they didn't feel safe. And of course, that's not what we wanted. Of course, the more the better. You can have, like, we can be part of a lot of networking groups. But now, with the times that we're in, I was just talking to one person who is maybe becoming a chapter leader, and she was saying that she had to leave her networking group because she didn't feel safe saying that she was Jewish, and she didn't feel safe saying the word Israel. So that is really, really sad that we get to this point where people have to be careful of how they present themselves, and she felt that it impacted her business. That people didn't want to have business relationship with her because she was Jewish, and because and it's very hard for people outside to understand that you can be Jewish and not necessarily agree with everything Israel does, right? There's kind of a confusion that if you're Jewish, it means that you're, pro-Israel with everything, So the network is really becoming that place, that safe space where you can come talk about your business, talk about how you feel. And that little addition that we did to the 1-minute presentation is really, really welcome for women who can express what they feel, again, whether it has impacted their business or not. Then we have an in-depth presentation, which is like a 10-15 minutes presentation on from one of the members to have a highlight on their business. And then we have breakout rooms, which is very surprising.
Which is great.
Exactly. It's like everyone loves I'm working on the whole meetup and trying to make it, but people come and say the breakout rooms were great. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of genuinely introduce yourself, you get support where you need help, and I've made great connections there. I mean, yeah, I just have to say you need time. And so I would say just block that time to be part of this meetup, because it takes time, depending on how many women are there. But it does take time. It's worth it, but it takes time.
Yes. And I have to say, like, in any network, really, I've been in different networks, and I'm also, teaching on how to network. And the secret is to come back consistently. Like, if you come one time and you meet people, great people, and then you never show up again, it's not going to be the same. I see the people that come every month, they started to create real friendships, and they really started to connect, whether, they're in France or in the US or, in the UK. They're like, those friendships that are amazing, really amazing. And yeah, so the secret is really to be consistent. And I always say also to follow up, right? If you get a lot of numbers or emails or WhatsApp or whatever, and you don't follow up after, well, no one is going to do the work for you, right? But we call them impact stories, because we don't only consider that, new clients or new revenue is great, but we also have some impact. So, for example, a lot of women have been invited on podcasts from each other, right? Like we're doing now.
Yeah,
so
I've been also. Yeah.
place. So it's not like a direct, revenue that you have a client, but it is more exposure, it is more connection, it is a strategic partnership. So we call them impact stories, and women share them, and they're like, yeah, I met this person, this happened, and then I connected. And my dream is, that's also why I'm doing the chapters and the retreat, is that you could travel anywhere in the world as a woman entrepreneur, as a Jewish woman entrepreneur, and you can just post in the group or the online community, hey, I'm in New York this week, who can I meet? Hey, I'm in Switzerland this week, who can I meet? That's really my dream, because I think that it's just great that we're like, it's a big world, but it's a small community, so we can like just be
we are
connected.
a small community. Yeah,
exactly.
Great. So I also know there is a conference in a couple of weeks, which is very exciting. You want to tell us a little bit about more about that? Like, what's the vision? What are the goals of this conference?
Yeah, for sure. We're deep into the preparation of the conference. So this conference had many lives also, because we've been online for 3 years, and we said, yeah, let's meet in person. And I was so excited, really. I mean, I still am, but I think the in-person energy is so special. And we had a venue in Jerusalem, because for me, like, where else would you organize a global conference, right? In Jerusalem, of course. So we had the venue, we had everything, really. Like, we were all set up. And we already had people that booked their tickets, not the conference ticket, their plane tickets from the US, from France, from the UK. Really, we had people that were ready to come. And like I said, the war happened. So at the beginning was like, oh my God, the war in Israel, like, no one's going to come. No one is going to take a plane ticket to come to Israel when, there's a war here. By the way, I'm in Jerusalem. I live here. But I understand that for people who live abroad, it's, a very difficult decision to just jump on a plane and come in a country at war. And so we said, okay, no problem. We'll just move the conference online. But that wasn't the end, because we had to rethink the whole content. So you asked about the goal. It was always about leadership, because the name of the conference is the Global Leadership Conference. And it was always about how we can be, as Jewish women, more leaders, step into our leadership role, for the Jewish people, for the world. It was always that, but I have to say that it was from a comfortable position. It was like, yeah, nice to have, okay, let's be leaders. Yeah, why not? But after the war, it wasn't a why not. It was like, okay, there's no choice here. Like, we have to roll up our sleeves. We have to be agents of change. We have to take responsibility for what we can do on our level. Like, we're not prime ministers or, war, whatever.
Fighters, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to change things on that level, but we know, and especially as women, we know that if we make changes on our level, on our small micro community, even our family, even ourselves, we can be leaders of ourselves. We can be leaders of our kids, of our loved ones, right? And that is the goal of the conference, is how do we take everything that's happening, which, by the way, the worst is that we're losing control. I mean, not the worst, of course, the worst is the war. But for us, on an emotional level, it's really like we're watching the news, we're watching this horrible things happen, and we cannot do anything. Yeah. And this conference is here to reverse it. No, we can do something. What can we do? And how can we bring our element of change and be leaders? So that's the goal of the conference.
Right. So I think it's actually very, at the right time. Everything has the right time for it. And I remember when the war happened, how everybody as a person was like, the head was spinning. We didn't know what was going on, whether you're in Israel or abroad. It was kind of like, even today, you think it's crazy what's going on. But we somehow came to senses that this is what's happening and we need to move on. And I think the conference would be a great opportunity to actually move on now, this 2024, to say, okay, as a leader, where do I want to be? What do I want to, So I know the conference is not for everybody, So I know it's for Jewish leaders, women leaders. You want to tell us a little bit more? Who is this for? Who should look into it? Who should sign up for it? Because it's not for a mother staying home. If it's really there is like a specific role there. Who is this for?
Well, it's basically the same public that the network is for, right? The network. Some people say to me, "Well, if I'm not Jewish, can I join?" Like, No, just like if you had like a group of dentists and you had someone who was, I don't know, a throat doctor, he wouldn't come because he's not. So it's not like we don't want to have, business relationships or even personal relationships with people that are not Jewish. It's just that we want to dedicate this network to Jewish. Same thing for women. I've had strategic partners, huge networks of women who wanted to, be a strategic partner. Like, well, what if a man wants to join? Like, well, no, if you're not a Jewish woman, right? And so same thing for business owners. People say, oh, I have an idea of a business. Can I join? Well, no, because you need to have paying clients, because you're going to be in a room with people who, like you said, have different level of business. Some people are CEOs and have, many employees. Some people are solopreneurs. Some people are freelancers. It's okay as long as you're
As
your
long
own
as there
boss.
is something, yeah.
Exactly. As long as, and so even if you're a VP executive of a huge corporate company, you're not an entrepreneur. You don't have your own business. So you're right to say that the network in general is for Jewish women entrepreneurs. And we added leaders because we know that there are leaders of nonprofits who don't consider themselves entrepreneurs. They're very, that I'm not in business, but they're still leaders of their own nonprofit. So for us, it's the same entrepreneurial spirit.
I think every entrepreneur is a leader after all. Otherwise,
Yes,
you wouldn't have built a business in the first place.
Exactly. And that's why the conference is for people that have already taken that leadership step, saying, I want to have my own business. And you're right, exactly. Being an entrepreneur, even if you're a freelancer, people say, I'm only a freelancer. Yeah, well,
doesn't matter. You're
exactly.
there.
Yeah, you're there. You don't have the security of an income every month. You're taking a leap of faith. You're trusting your expertise. So this definitely is already a leadership step. And for the conference, I would add, and I can see how, some women are like, a leadership conference? No, I'm not a leader. Like, they have this imposter syndrome, that is starting like, yeah, of course I have a business, but I'm not a leader. And I really want this conference to turn this around. I really want this conference to bring that awareness, or to wake up the, sleeping, leader inside of each entrepreneur.
So just to add to that, if you are doing some like catering from home, or if you're doing graphic designing, or if you are, doing kind of doula support, this is a business. And you are a leader because you actually took the step to build something, even if it's still very small. So that's what,
Exactly.
But if you just have an idea and you want to develop it, maybe you develop it and next year she can join, right? So just to differentiate who can join.
We had to draw the line somewhere, and we said that anyone who already has clients, basically, like if you had a paying client, you're considered a business owner. If you have an idea, it could be tomorrow you'll have a client, but today, you're still business owner with someone with an idea. And so then the next question you want to ask yourself, if you want to come to this conference, is, am I motivated to become an agent of change? That's the next question. But not change. I mean, I know when we say changing the world, it sounds really big.
Yeah, tell me more about that. What do you mean by an agent of change? Because it sounds great, but what is it? Doesn't really mean.
Well, it's just like what you said about, entrepreneurs who don't see themselves as leaders, because being an agent of change, again, is saying, starting with, this year, 2024, I'm going to start teaching my kids about Jewish values. That's an agent of change. Okay. That's just that decision, that proactive step, that, decision that I'm looking at myself, not only as a woman, of course, as a business owner, but what difference does it make if I'm a Jewish woman? Like, not only on a religious perspective, not only like how religious I am, but what is it in my culture, in my value, my DNA? And if I decide to learn more about this, for example, and to teach my kids, I'm already an agent of change, because I'm already changing the transmission. I'm already, adding a level and a dimension to what I'm doing. So I'm not changing the world, on a bigger scale, but I'm changing my world. And that's already a change, has ripple effects, because your kids are going to grow up and they're going to talk to other people who are going to talk to other people. And so it could be, as, very low resolution as this. And it can be, I have a business, I know I can add something to my business, I can change, I can be more, turn into activism. I can, raise the volume of my voice on social media. I can decide on what cause I want to defend. I know that we have this conversation in the global network when the war broke. There were so many people to help, so many causes. Like there's no end to how many people you can help. But we decided as an organization that we were going to give support to entrepreneurs, to small businesses, especially in Israel. Even though we're a global network, we decided to focus on giving support on small business owners in Israel. And we had all kinds of initiatives to support them. So that was a discussion that we had to have as an organization. Where is our effort? Where's our energy going to go? We can help the hostages. We can help the people that have been moved from their homes, right?
So I think in every business, you need to make decisions, you need to draw a line, you need to decide. But like you said, like to make changes, and at Fully in Balance, I always tell my clients, we need to make changes step by step. And you can't change, like I'm into nutrition, you can't change from today to tomorrow. You need to really build it up and be consistent to reach there. So the same thing in your own business. I mean, I see it as a business owner and I see it with my clients, but you need to say, what do I want to do this first quarter? How do I want to, it's kind of evolution and it's growing, it's growth. So it's step by step. And I think this conference is what is going to open our, it's going to be an eye opener for those that really want to grow. And I'm looking forward to it. So how can we find it? How can we sign up? Is there a deadline to sign up? I mean, tell us more about that.
So,
now that we spoke about it.
Yeah, of course, it's on January 21st, 2024. It's a Sunday. We made it a Sunday because we hope that this is going to be also easier for everyone who is abroad. Even though in Israel we do work on Sundays, but we said that's
Sunday.
a great day to start the week. It's a Sunday, and we basically have two parts. And I'll answer your question in how to register, but I also wanted to say like what the content is in the conference. So we have a first part, which is going to be inspiration, like having panels and interviews of women who are already there, who are already part of initiatives, who are activists, who are leaders for the Jewish people. And I'm looking at this as a buffet. It's like presenting a buffet of all kinds of ways you can be a leader. And the participants can look and say, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I would like that. Oh, no, that's not me, right? Like seeing really the different examples of journeys and people and their role. And so that's the first part of the conference. The second part of the conference is what about me? Okay, I've heard all of this. I've seen amazing people do amazing things, but what about me? How can I be also on my level, wherever I am, how can I become a leader? That's why we wanted to make this. There is a word in Hebrew that says, oh, not even Hebrew, but it's in Israel. We use it, tachlis, right? It's like, exactly. Make it concrete. Okay, I heard of those. I hate those conferences. I don't hate it. It's nice to have a conference when you come and you're inspired. But then you go home and you're like, okay, what do I do with this? Like I heard so many great things and I have so many ideas, but where do I put my 2 cents in? So we wanted the second part to be very concrete, and that's why we're going to have roundtables with facilitators that are going to be trained in advance to help people really bring out the essence of their idea of leadership or their projects or their beginning of direction. It doesn't have to be a whole project. It could be, oh, I think I would like to be like this, or I would like to do that. And those roundtables are going to be precious because it's really a moment where you really can look inside yourself, have this small group where you can really share how you feel about it, how you see yourself. And at the end of the conference, I really want everyone to be able to say, and now I know how I want to become a leader. I know what is my next step in that big, leadership step that I want
because I wanted to ask you what would be, whoever joins this conference, what would be the biggest takeaway leaving the conference? Because yes, there is networking, there is lots of lectures, there is lots of things, but you actually want to walk out with something that you can do something with it.
So that's exactly the answer. The takeaway is that you're leaving the conference not only full of hope. We need hope now. A lot of things are so dark and so sometimes we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm talking about the Jewish people. I'm talking about Israel. You're like, where's this going? So we want the hope that, okay, I know a lot of things I can't control, But this thing, this idea, this project, this direction, again, doesn't have to be a whole project. It could be just a direction. It could be, I'll just start doing this. I'll just change this. And so you're going to take away, you're going to leave the conference with that takeaway. You're going to leave the conference with a much more clearer idea of, first of all, what is possible. What is this buffet that, all the options that are open in front of me? And then what do I take from this? And already have the time to brainstorm inside the conference. It's not like, okay, I'll brainstorm, next week. No. Right here, right now, you're going to open up, you're going to introspect, you're going to look inside yourself, you're going to reflect with other women that are like-minded, and you're going to come out with an idea, a project, something that is taking you one step further. So, and we're partnering with Momentum on this activity.
Oh, I love it.
We're so lucky, very grateful. I'm not lucky, we worked hard for it, but we're grateful because Momentum, it's really their expertise. They know how to connect with Jewish identity, with Jewish leadership. And so we're very, very grateful that they're going to facilitate this activity, training the facilitators, doing the introduction to the roundtable, putting the women and the participant in that sphere and in that space that they can really look inside and come out with something that is going to be more concrete, just like you said, not just ideas and speeches.
I love it because, whoever knows me, I'm a person which is always with ideas, and I create new programs and challenges and this and that. And now for 2024, I have really a vision, and I know what I want to do and where I want to take my business to. So I'm looking forward that this conference will give me some more tools and really this takeaway that have to actually do this to move forward. So I'll be very excited to share with my followers what I'm planning. But before, I need a bit of more time to really, make the right structure and the right format for it. So. Yeah.
I love it because you're, especially in your line of business where you're working already with Jewish women around the world. And so you already have an impact. You already are a leader. You already are doing it. And that's why people are going to be at different levels. But even you at your level, you're like, yeah, but I still want to add that vision. I still want to add
Absolutely.
that project.
I mean, we all want to grow always. And that's why we're doing this. I've been 7 years in the business. It's not like, and I'll be happy to help others coming in, but I'll be also happy to learn from those that have been there longer than me. So
exactly. Really, so that's the beauty of working with business owners, because we have that mindset of, what is my next vision, my next project, we're already, like you said, we're leaders, but not only the word leader, we're also proactively, implementing our projects. So yeah, that's the takeaway. Now, how can you find us? Well, you can come tonight to the meetup, because we're going to talk about leadership and we're going to talk about the conference, and you'll have a lot of information. You can look for us on Facebook, Global Network for Jewish Women Entrepreneurs and Leaders, and we're talking about the conference all the time. I can put the link to the conference below, this live, or we can share the link of the conference, how to register. I'll say this. The network has been free for 3 years. And like I said, last year we opened a nonprofit. And so the conference is the first time that we're asking a donation for the conference. And we're very excited because this has, made this conference professional. Of course, everything we do is professional. I'm professional, so we are professional. But there is something about donating money and saying, this conference has value and I want to donate to the organization. So it is kind of buying your ticket, but it's also, I want to say that's very important, because it's also donating to a scholarship fund. So the money, the price for the donation for your ticket is $100, and you can pay in any currency. You can pay in euro, in dollars, in shekels. I think that's it, but that's many currencies already. It is a tax deductible. So you get a receipt that says you can present this to your accountant, get tax refund. So it's almost like a non-expense, because you're not paying taxes. So great. And then when you do donate this $100, we take a part of it and we put it in the scholarship fund. So that when we have a woman that comes and says, I really want to participate, but I cannot afford, we have this fund that we can help her, and she can pay a part, because we do want people to pay a smaller amount, but we can complete this amount. And so this scholarship fund is really important for us. We want to make this available and accessible, even though we ask a small participation, even from the scholarship fund. But for those who kind of, I had a woman who said, I want to, she was like, I want to donate more because, I feel like this is me and me helping another woman.
Okay, so everybody on their own, but I think it's beautiful. And I also think if you pay a fee for something, you're also more committed because you take it seriously. And that I've seen from experience with my clients. And, there is definitely a different commitment, a different mindset there when you pay for something than when you don't. So I think it's important. The people that are coming to this conference are people that want to be there.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it's important that you mentioned that. Thank you.
It is.
So this is beautiful. I will also share with my followers and my subscribers the link so they can join. And so we spoke about the conference, we spoke about the global meetups, but now you, Nathalie, as a woman, you also have different hats that you're wearing. It's not only your business, it's also other things. So what is your vision as a Jewish woman, as Nathalie Garson that you are? Like, I know you're very involved in your business, but there's also life. We need to find balance between life and so how do you find your balance as a Jewish woman and as a Jewish entrepreneur?
So, I know that you are all about balance, Dalia, and I love that about you and about your business. And when we spoke about this interview and you said that to me, I was like, oh my God, she's going to ask me the one question that I think I need to work on. And I want to tell you why. I'm serious. This is really something. I think that there are many elements that makes it very difficult for me to find balance. The first is, like I said, this nonprofit journey came to me like almost as an obvious journey that I needed to almost catch the train. Like I felt the train is leaving the station and I'm still on the platform. Like, oh, wow, this is happening, right? And so I'm still catching up. And so it's difficult to find balance when you're catching up because I'm, putting a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's all volunteering and it's all, whatever resources are my resources right now. And so I'm not at the stage of the balance, like more at the startup stage where you have to invest time and there's no balance yet because you don't have yet the structure, or even though it seems very structured, but, as soon as we'll get funds, we'll be able to be more organized and more balanced. So that's the one thing. The second thing is, even if I felt that with a conference coming, we were getting to some place, the war broke. And that through my whole seemingly effort to find some kind of balance. I mean, I think everyone felt it, and
even myself.
Exactly, right? Exactly. I mean, I had weeks where I just had to turn off the whole thing and say, I'm not, there is no one here. Like, I'm not available. And I had to take care of my mental health, of my mindset, of my physical. I mean, it was, and again, I mean, we still are very, very traumatized by everything that's happening. My daughter was in the South when it happened. So there were a lot on my personal level that really threw me off balance. That's, an understatement. And so I think that it's one of my goals to get to get
that balance, yeah.
Exactly, but I cannot say today that I would be a good role model for this. I think that I'm still finding the balance. I have my business, I have the nonprofit. Like you said, we have our families, and my daughter's boyfriend is in Miluim, as a reservist, and so we're also like every day is a very like. We have to take care of things that we couldn't imagine that we had to take care of or think of. So I think you're right. This should be a goal, and balance is very important. But right now, I was really thinking about this question when you said that's what you're going to ask. I was like, I have to be honest. Like, I cannot say, oh yeah, of course.
No, I think first of all, thank you for being honest, because it says a lot about you and about being like your integrity, and something that we all need to work on. Something. It's not like taken for granted. It's not because you're a business owner, you have it all worked it out. There is so much behind a business that if you're not a business owner, you wouldn't know. It goes up and down, and definitely. But it is important to find that balance and to take it as a priority, because your health depends on it. And I'm not talking about food. Yes. Really not. I'm more talking about self-care, being present, taking, that time for you, and to somehow say, stop, these are my boundaries.
Yes.
I
Yes.
need to kind of create healthy boundaries around me to be able to move on, because this will hit you or will hit anybody that doesn't have that.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
but
For
it's
sure.
already being aware is the first step to change. And I love that you are aware of it. So I hope that my question made you even more aware of it than
Oh,
maybe.
yes, yes, yes. I mean, if one thing, I think, I've always talked about and being a very big fan of routines, and this is really a tool that I use in my business, and I've worked on myself on this, and I've, taught this in my business, and so I think I knew that before, but now it's even more like I'm feeling really the importance of routines and of having, like you said, boundaries, but it's taking more time to get back to routine. So I'm like
Yes,
also,
yes.
it's taking more time, and yeah, it is what it is. What we have to. But I think you're right. The awareness is already a good
It's
direction.
a big step. And I always say also celebrate every little win, even if it's a challenge, because from that challenge, you're learning something to move on,
Yeah.
So also in the business or in the personal life, everything
Yes.
that you face was a good experience, even if it was not so good at the time, because we learn from it, we grow with it. So definitely figuring it out, it's already a big step. So
But
celebrate every win.
it may be a good idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but having like a new concept, like finding balance in times of war, because I think that this is what we're going through. I mean, if you're talking only to Jewish women, that's what they're going through, whether they're in Israel or around the world.
Absolutely. And that's what I do with my group. Is also, it's a new week, it's a new situation, it's a new day. We are
Yeah.
going through something on a
Yeah.
personal level or not, but we all like affected with the situation in Israel.
Oh yes.
So it is really finding that balance. And when I did my first 5-day reset after the war, I had so many women coming from Israel really joining because they needed that balance. And I thought, oh, nobody would be interested. Who would be
Wow.
interested in rebalancing? And there was so many of women that came and reached out, Dalia, we need help. And Baruch
That
Hashem, I
is
was
so
so grateful. Now I'm running actually my next reset. Now it's starting this week. And yes, I also have some women from Israel asking for support, and not only in Israel, worldwide, everybody needs help. So
yeah, definitely, and it starts with us. The same thing that we said about the conference that you're saying now. It starts with our small world of with ourselves, with our kids, with our family, with our business. I mean, if we don't get this, like you said, with balance and align, and then we're not going to be able to change. To be agent of change. So the conference is also about how do I find my little space in that big
yeah,
earthquake.
yeah.
Um,
And it's
yeah.
also setting boundaries for yourself,
Yes.
and that's very important. So I
Yes.
think I mentioned that every time I finish this kind of conversations. It's like create your boundaries, because
Yes.
it's
Yes.
super
Definitely.
important. So
Definitely.
thank you so much, Nathalie, for being here today. It was really a pleasure. I love this conversation. I really hope anybody that's listening or watching us can really gain something out of it, and that they will join your conference, or at least the meetup, to be curious tonight what's going on, what's there, what's happening. It's for free, so give it a try. And I will share the links also here below. And if you want to follow up on more spotlights, on more series of finding your balance as a Jewish entrepreneur, you can sign up for my newsletter at fullyinbalance.com, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, until next time, stay healthy, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia.
Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you, everybody.